Welcome back into another episode of the Heart of Boston Sports. I'm your host, Chase Andrews, and the Red Sox are in a bit of a sticky situation. Let's talk about it today on the show because right now I'm not feeling good about the vibes in a lot of aspects, and although everything on the outside and pictures and all that, they all look good, I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on with the third base debacle, and let's kind of get you up to date if you don't know what's happening. We start first with the comments from Rafeal Devers. This coming a couple days ago, and we kind of talked about this in a previous video. However, I think it's important because there are new comments from other players. So he said this about being asked to transition to DH. No, third base is my position. It's what I play. I don't know what their plans are. We had a conversation. I made it clear on what my desires were. Whatever happens from here, I don't know. And while I can't blame him for this response because it sounds like he was kind of blindsided by the Red Sox in terms of asking him to play DH, I don't know why this wasn't discussed for the entire offseason because, as most of you know, since about December, it was very clear that the Red Sox were going to get Alex Bregman and Nolan Arenado. The good news is for Rafeal Devers is they got Alex Bregman because if for some reason Bregman didn't work out, which by the way, it looked very clear like it wasn't going to, so thank goodness it did. If the Red Sox, however, did not get Bregman, had to pivot and got Nolan Arenado, Rafeal Devers would not be playing third base guaranteed. Right now, I think there is still a shot. However, I think he should not be playing there. And now, I understand there is part of my senses that says, don't disrupt your star player. Don't try and take him out of a place where he's comfortable at. However, when you're taking him out of a positional place to a designated hitter place, I don't think that should disrupt anything for him, especially on the hitting side. I think there's a lot of things to dive into with this, and really it all comes down to what is best for the team. And right now, best for the team is to put Rafeal Devers at DH. Now, that does kind of render Masataka Yoshida pretty useless, so we'll kind of have to wait and see whether Masa is dealt, because his role on this team kind of doesn't work anymore, especially if Bregman does play third, and Rafeal Devers does transition to DH. So I'm kind of interested to see how all this works out because there's a lot of talk about the prospects coming up and who on this current team is going to stay with the Red Sox, who's going to be dealt at the deadline, because the hope is, and really I think the expectation at this point, is for the Red Sox to compete for a World Series title. And you look at the AL, it's a wide open race, and the Red Sox doing the moves that they did this offseason, trading for Garrett Roche, getting Walker Buehler, signing Alex Bregman, having an infield that I think is one of the best offensive infields in all of the MLB, having a best defensive outfield in the all of MLB, and your pitching staff from top to bottom is actually really good considering what it was a year ago. Now, there are still lots of things to consider, and I think the vibes around this team are very important, especially in spring training. Now, in terms of Bregman, he also got asked about the third base situation, and his response was more of a team-oriented one, saying, quote, "I'll play wherever helps the team win," end quote. Now, that is something that I like to hear, especially from a guy who has just been traded over here, who has been a Gold Glove third baseman for pretty much his entire career. And I understand he has played in multiple different positions throughout his time, both at LSU and with the Astros. So I think he could play at second base. Hell, I think he could play at shortstop or first base, or even in the outfield if we really needed him to. However, he is a Gold Glove third baseman. I don't understand really what the conversation was with Rafeal Devers when they signed Bregman of, hey, we just signed a Gold Glove third baseman. You, by the way, I mean, I'm not going to say he's one of the worst fielders, but he's definitely bottom tier of third baseman fielders for sure. And you expect me to play Rafeal Devers at third over Alex Bregman? I don't think that's going to happen. Now, the pot really got stirred to me, and the reason why I think things, especially vibes-wise, are going in the wrong direction are somewhat into the aspect of what Tristan Casas had to say about the whole situation, because he was asked, should Rafeal Devers play third base straight up? And, well, his response was, I'm going to say disheartening, to say the least, in my opinion.
Hear what Devers said yesterday about wanting to stay at third and not DHing, and kind of, I'm curious, one, if you heard it, and two, if like you feel like that's something you have to maybe navigate in the clubhouse between him and Bregman, or, I mean, I know you're a younger guy comparatively, but how you maybe navigate that and how approach that in the clubhouse?
I think I think it's Rafeal Devers' position. I think he's the third baseman, and at that point, that's where it stands. And he's done it for a really long time now. And I think he's only getting better at that position. I think his defense is getting better every single year. We don't know what the future holds, but we know it holds Rafeal Devers. So I think he's got to play defense. It's going to keep him athletic, and he's going to hit because of him being at third base. He doesn't know any other position. He doesn't want to play any other position, and he's going to fight for it, even if it's with any of the younger guys, any new guy. I think he's the best third baseman in the league. I wouldn't take anybody over him. So I think he should play third base. Yeah.
So you think Bregman should play second? Rafeal plays third.
I think Bregman should play second base. Yeah. I think he's going to make the transition well. I think he's athletic enough to, and I think Trevor, is going to play an awesome shortstop.
Now, there's a lot of things to break down about this, and I think we have to start with the obvious thought of Tristan Casas. He's trying to be a good teammate. He's trying to buff up Rafeal Devers, a teammate that he has been with for the past 2 or 3 seasons now since Casas came up. And knowing that Rafi is in some way a veteran on this team, I know that he's still relatively young and got a lot of years on the contract, but Casas is younger than Devers, and I think in a lot of aspects he was trying to lift him up and say, hey, this is our third baseman, we believe in him, we trust in him, we want him to be there. However, there is a line where I think the Red Sox need to start media training their players a little better, because when you are asked specifically, you think Alex Bregman should play second base, and you say straight up answer yes, is where the question needs to come up of, what is Casas being told by media relations? What is this entire Red Sox team being told by what to say to the media? Because in some aspects, it's spring training. There are a lot of things that still need to be decided. A lot of them probably include the infield alignment. Who is going to play where? Who will start? Will the prospects come up? Multiple different things. And again, I can see people having a problem with Casas' comments. I can see the other side of people saying, well, he was just trying to lift him up. He was just trying to be a good teammate. And while both can be true, I don't like the way he went about that, because the easy answer is, Alex Cora is going to make the decision. I think our team is very good with whatever Cora decides. I think overall, no matter who is out on the diamond and who is on the batter's box, we're going to compete at a high level, and I really think this team is built to win the World Series. That is a proper media trained response. What Casas gave is not so much a proper trained media response. Now let's transition here more as we go into the fielding and the stats. Now, I'm kind of nitpicking a little bit and doing the basic stats because I think that's all that needs to be shown, and really the only number that I'm looking at, and you're kind of seeing this is a bunch of number jargon, whatever it is. On the far right, you have the fielding percentages over the years for Rafeal Devers since 2018. They're not great, especially back in 2020 when he had 891. And just for reference, in case a little questionable, well, what's a good fielding percentage? Usually, this is what a good fielding percentage looks like. 972, 963, 983, 964, 979. I mean, Bregman hasn't had a season below 960 in literally 6-7 years. His entire career, I think he's been over 960. So I have to look at this from a unbiased perspective. And as much as I love Rafeal Devers, as much as I want him to be happy and I want him to succeed, and I want that to be at third base, I don't think that can happen when these stats are this different. When you look at Rafeal Devers, when you look at his fielding percentage, and especially not to mention the gold gloves that, frankly, Alex Bregman has and Rafeal Devers hasn't even sniffed. It's just the way things play out, and I really am a little concerned about the way this was handled within the organization. And at the same time, I'm not that worried in some aspects, because their job is to go play baseball. Their job is to go out there and do the right things on the field. And they're pretty dang good at that, I can tell you that. So I'm not going to worry too much about the spring training vibes or how's everybody feeling. And I know that I kind of portrayed that here, and I am a little worried in some aspects, but I think this will all blow over, and it will kind of be a storyline, but I don't think it's going to be something that we are going to look at heavily in the future. I do want to go back to a little bit of comments about the prospects, though, that I made earlier, because something that did strike me a little bit off chord when Tristan Casas was at his media was saying that Well, he doesn't believe that Roman Anthony, Kristian Campbell, and Marcelo Mayer deserve to be up on the starting opening day roster. And you kind of saw me flash the stats there. We'll go back to them in just a second, but I want to talk about this for a second. First of all, at no point in time in my mind should any major league player be trying to predict or make decisions about who is going to be up on the major league opening day roster. And the second part of that, and I know I didn't show the clip, but basically what he said was there are grown men that need to work some stuff out here. I understand what he's saying in some aspects. He's saying we have a good roster. I think everybody up here is good. We don't need Roman Anthony, a 20-year-old. We don't need Kristian Campbell, a young kid. We don't need Marcelo Mayer, who are all these young kids up here. And Tristan Casas is not that much older than them. But still, I can get what his mindset is. However, saying there are grown men that have some jobs to do up here just doesn't seem the right thing to say when you're talking about some of the top prospects in all of baseball. Forget Red Sox organization. These are some of the top prospects in all of Major League Baseball, and you're saying there's some grown men up here that have their jobs and not them? I don't know about that, because stats, they speak a little differently. Looking at this in their 2024 stats last year across minor leagues, Kristian Campbell batted .330, had 20 homers and 77 RBI. He is the clear choice to make the opening day roster if you're picking from these three. However, I think there is a case to be made for all three of these guys to make the opening day slot. I think if I were to guess, Roman Anthony would have the number 2 slot in terms of odds to make the opening day roster, and Marcelo Mayer would definitely have third. But I do believe, and this is going to happen in my mind, all three of these players will be up and on the Red Sox 40-man roster by the time the trade deadline is over. Now, can I guarantee that? Of course not. Can't say that's going to happen. However, I do know that the Red Sox love Kristian Campbell. And when I say love, they want him to play every single day. And the success that he has had from Georgia Tech to the minors, every single level, this kid has balled out. And now, chance to put him on the opening day roster, give him some confidence boost. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Roman Anthony, I think he's earned his way on what he's done in a lot of aspects. I think he should be on the opening day roster. And while Marcelo Mayer, I think, is a little bit off just right now, I think by the time we get around the trade deadline, he will be ready. And in some aspects, that's where I could see maybe moving some players around. And, I don't want to talk about it because I really love Trevor's story, but there's a potential world where the Red Sox, make a move to trade away from Trevor Story to try and get an extra pitching arm because they know they have the Marcelo Mayer in the minors. There are potential moves that Marcelo Mayer could easily come up at any point in time. And of course, we have injury history with Trevor Story to worry about as well. So ultimately, there's a lot of different things to look at, but the opening day lineup is what I'm going to key in here. And personally, I think there was a right choice in the opening day lineup. Here is what I would have to put up there. So first of all, the top three are obvious, but I want you to take a look at the positions. I think Jarren Duran is the obvious choice. I think he's the best overall player on the team. I think he is a 5-tool player, maybe even a 6-tool player. This guy can absolutely do everything. He's going to start in left field. I think there's no doubt about that. He'll bat first as well. Alex Bregman, I think he should bat second, and I think he should play third base. I think overall his batting average warrants him bidding in that second spot. He also has the power to always hit Duran in after Duran steals second, makes a single, a double, gets himself a triple, hits it into a certain area where he can be on segment. Jarren Duran has so many possibilities ahead of Bregman. I just love that 1-2 combo right off the rip. Then you'll have your power combo of Rafeal Devers and Tristan Casas. Notice Devers being in the DH slot. Tristan Casas stays at first base. And then you kind of restart your lineup there. And I will take 5, 6, and 7 for the Red Sox over any other 5, 6, and 7 in the entire league. And there are 2 prospects in there. Trevor Story, Roman Anthony, and Kristian Campbell as your 5, 6, and 7? Are you kidding me? That's absolutely wild, and I would love to see that. I think Roman Anthony has some pop, and I would be open to the idea of moving Kristian Campbell to 6 and maybe letting Roman Anthony bat more down in the lineup, say 8 or 9, potentially how you would want to do that, because I think Campbell, again, with the better average, deserves a better, higher spot. However, I think 5, 6, 7 is a really good slot right there for all of them. Obviously, Kristian Campbell will take over that second base slot in terms of Alex Bregman being at third. Connor Wong about 8th, and then you have your quote-unquote second leadoff hitter, Ceddanne Rafaela, in the 9 slot, who is going to be a Red Sox for a while, already got his extension last year. I honestly think this is the perfect opening day lineup. I want you to let me know in the comments, what is your perfect opening day lineup? Do you think that this is right? Do you think that this is wrong? Do you think that Rafeal Devers should be playing third base? I want you to let me know in the comments section. All right, well, that about does it for today's show. I know it's a bunch of Red Sox stuff, but honestly, they're the talk of the town right now with the Celtics starting back up in the second half. I say. It's after All-Star break. I'm thinking too much on baseball. The after All-Star break coming up here for the Celtics Bruins. Obviously, they got the Canada and USA hockey game coming up, so I'm excited to watch that. Bruins obviously off right now, and the Patriots just kind of waiting on that pick. So really, Red Sox are the talk of the town right now, and especially with all the drama, I will call it drama, going on in the spring training. We appreciate your time, and man, loving this, loving you, and appreciate if you made it to the end of the video. Peace out.